Alright, so we're going to do this thing called the 10-minute rule and demonstrate how it's bullshit. Or maybe I'll be proven wrong and get more productivity done. But either way, we're going to do this for 10 minutes and then we're going to get out of here. So I did all my push-ups for today. It is almost midnight. After coding for 20 hours straight on Monday, surprise, surprise, I didn't really feel like doing much on Tuesday. So we're going to do, it's 11:16, so we can't log much time for Tuesday. But we're just going to try to like write one line of code and then call it a day. Yes, that's what I said, one line of code. So let's just figure out where the project we were working on was, right? So if we go into Git and we go into Kanji Coder, we're working on this PNG hex dumper, right? And if we do a git bash here, let's open up a terminal so that we have a way to compile. And right now, we are able to get a hex dump file working. So this txt file here, if we double click it right now, it is actually producing exactly what I want. So let's put this over here. Or actually, let's put this over here. So yeah, I did a hex dump of the PNG or txt file, and I got like everything I wanted. Now, the thing that kind of sucks is that I looked up a solution for this, for like a hex dump, a solution for a hex dump, and let me find it really quick. I'm gonna put this under hex dump code golf. Hex dump. Yeah, it's not really code golf, but I am exaggerating. But holy crap, I wrote all this code. It took a long time. You know, it was a 20-hour stream. I mean, I did a lot of like API kind of stuff where, like, you know, I wired into the command line and whatnot, and do file access and whatnot. But right, this question here, someone's asking about this, and this person wrote some code to do this, and look how small the code is. Like, that's impressive. Okay, so not only is this small, but then I also had one of my viewers do a piece of code similar. So let's go over the code that one of my viewers did. So my viewer was watching my stream, and then they attempted it as well. RBS. I'm going to find that right now. And I went over it with them yesterday, but I just want to take a look at that as well. So I'm just going to make some notes here, though, before I do that. So I want to make notes so I can find this later. So RBSRB. Okay, so I'm going to put theirs there. I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to do, so Stack Overflow. Okay, so I just want to archive this before I continue. So, okay. And mine is, so I'm also going to make a link to mine. but that's actually going to be in here in the source code here. But we're going to open up the function file really quick. I'm going to put it over on the right monitor. And, oh, also I did all my trampoline parts. Okay. So I wrote all this code, and it's like, bam, all this code, right? A whole bunch of stuff. So you have command line helpers. Okay, let's take an inventory of what code I have. So I have command line helpers. So that I guess we could write off and say, well, that's not really part of what this solution does here. But I believe they do save it to... Well, they save it to cout, but you could make this easy to, like, save to a file, I think. So they did this, and this is much more impressive than what I did. I mean, it's not in the... I can't use this format. This format is useless to me. But the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of nice stuff going on here. I think it's more complicated than my little printout, yet less code, right? So getting more done with less code, I think, is valuable. So we got public command line functions, okay. Also something that, yeah, that code doesn't have any command line stuff. But then program API functions. This is where I was like writing all the code. Load file if exists. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here. And I cut and pasted some code, so some things aren't aligned very well, right? So, file reading and writing section is like, what is it? Is like 100 lines of code? What is it? It is, no, it's not 100 lines of code. It's like 700 lines of code for, like, file access stuff. And I copied, pasted that from somewhere else. And then some boilerplate. But anyways, when I look at it, I'm like, holy crap. Why is what I'm writing so bloated? I mean, I guess there are some obvious answers, right? So some of it's my style, right? There's obviously a lot of bloat like this, which I'm not going to fix that. Like, I do that to keep the keep my column limits down. And so maybe it's that right, my code is just very long because of the way I make sure it doesn't exceed that border, possibly. Well, let's take a look at that longness. Well, most of this doesn't look too long. I mean, they got really short variable names and whatnot, and all that. And I mean, this is directly in main, but still, I am impressed by how short this code is. But yeah, I am looking at this and going, holy crap, why? So you know what, so since I don't really feel like writing much code right now, I guess what we could do is just go through all of this and clean it up, right? So we're going over the edge here. We could just do this as a session where we just make sure that nothing exceeds this edge, right? So it's like, I don't feel like doing any code right now, but at the very least, we could just kind of clean up what we have and then call that a day, right? So, so I think that's what I'm going to do. So also, I'm going to look at my chat, because I haven't looked at my chat. I don't expect anyone to be messaging me, but if anyone's messaged me, I can't actually see the chat, and I don't think the chat persists if I visit the thing right now. So I'm just going to look at this really quick. Oh, this is the wrong... Let me go into... let me go open up this up in Torch. Okay. Let's go open this up in Torch. I'm going to open up the chat in Torch. And then, yeah, I think I'm just going to clean up the columns. Right, all the code that's overflowing. If anything's overflowing off of the edge here, I'm just going to fix that, and then I'm going to call that a day, I think. So anywhere where we're going off the edge here, we're just going to fix that, and we're going to call that good. So I don't feel like doing any code right now. As easy as it would be to write a little bit more code, I just don't feel like it. And, you know, when you're not feeling like doing something, when you don't have motivation to do something, when it's creative work, it's just very hard to... You can't really force you can force work out of people when the work is not creative. When the work is creative, you can't force the work out of people. So, because of that, what we can do though is we can do non-creative things like busy work of like fixing this up. So that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, anything here. Make dir status 0 is success. How about we just let's just change some variable names here and note them, right? So how about mkd stat, right? So make dir status, right? And once we so anywhere we see this, we're just gonna replace it with this. And we should probably also make sure that this isn't some type of command, because I know that C doesn't, in C none of the functions are namespaced, and so sometimes there's the potential of making up a variable name that, you know, a variable name that is actually like a function. So we need to be careful with some of our variable names, unfortunately. Okay, so I think we're okay. So yeah, we could say make dir status. Right. And there we go. Right, so all this is, you know, it's just a if def, whatever the heck. It's not much, yeah, so also we want to make sure things still compile, so /PHEXDUM.sh. We want to make sure that no matter what things we do, no matter how trivial we think they are, we want to make sure that it always runs. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so now if we take this and do .exe and we do PNG to C99 or naked array, PNG to naked array, we do logo.png, right? Fatal error, len, strlen. Okay, so let's try that again. So because I had that, usually I use this, so I don't know, maybe the command is... Okay, so we gotta look at why the capitalized version didn't work. Because I thought that would have worked. But yeah, we got the hex dump here, but only with... So maybe this is not a command, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess this isn't a command, and because it's not a command, I'm doing something wrong here in the code. So let's finish up this thought in our shortcuts. Okay, let's put this back on the other monitor. And so if I look for, I'm going to put this on the right monitor right now, and over here, we're going to open up the data file really quick. And we're going to look for PNG to NAC, like that. Say, nope, that's not a thing. So it just doesn't recognize what you're doing because your command doesn't work. Okay, fine. So now the question is, does that mean that if I type any gibberish, we're getting a problem? Yeah, so it's saying that there's a fatal error. So something about typing the wrong command is giving me a problem. And we're going to have to look into that and see how we can fix that. I mean, it's not a valid command, but we still want it to fail gracefully, right? So that is a problem, and I do need to fix it eventually, but for now, let's just try to clean up some more code, right? So I'm going to guess that that's not that error I introduced somewhere earlier in the code. Backslash is not supported. So this was... So anywhere we see, like, PHEXDUM halt in a place where it could be using a macro, just replace it with the macro for error. Now I see that... So I'm going to guess the error macro doesn't exist here. It doesn't exist, so if we try to compile, we're going to fail after making that simple change. Yeah. So what we're going to do here... We're going to try to clean this up. We're going to try to get rid of this thing. I know that, like, all my macros are, like, here. Maybe you want to... but the reason the indentation is a little bit different here is because, right, I cut and pasted a whole bunch of file reading write stuff from FileBoy. So let's make a note here. @vid_iid. Before we forget, I do remember what I did yesterday. So, code in file read write section was copy pasted from AAC 2020 FileBoy system. That is why this entire section has one extra level of indentation. Do not attach macro arrows to the section header or footer. Okay, so we need to change. So this is macro up here, we need to say don't put any macros here because the way we organize this code is a little bit different because it's a cut and paste of some other code, and since we cut and pasted a whole section of code, we just indented it all one level more, right? And that made everything kind of wonky, and so we need to do our formatting just a little bit different. So now I can kind of see why my code is a lot bigger than everybody else's, because, well, you know, you already took up a whole bunch of lines writing massive comments. Now the thing is you can always take away the comments, you can never add them later, because later you won't know what the hell you were thinking. So even though I am kind of like envious of some other code, right, that is much more terse, I think I am going to stick to my guns of over-documenting things and just kind of like going overkill on things. Like, I think that code readability is important. Knowing what I was thinking was important. Even though you would like to just write something and never ever come back to it, every once in a while you do have to come back to something, and if you didn't well document, it will really hurt you. So, but then the other thing is, well, if you write code so fast that if you write code, if we exaggerate it and say you can just, you know, write code in a second. Any code you need, you can write in a second. Then you don't need to document, right? Because you could just, oh, you forgot what that code does, so just rewrite it. It didn't take you that long the first time, just rewrite it. So, So I gotta think, well, is that a better strategy? And, I don't know. Well, I mean, just because you can write the code fast doesn't mean that other people can, right? So, if we're trying to write code that other people are going to use, I don't think that's a good strategy. If it was code that just I'm going to use, then yeah, that would make sense. Anyways, so we're going to attach an error macro here. So, define AAC 2020 PHEXDUM ERR. Or halt. I'm forgetting what my own macros are called. So then, this recursive make directory right here, all you gotta do is go undef ERR, right? And then we're gonna have to do more and more of this until everything is kind of working, right? So, let's try to zoom in here a little bit so that other people can see my console. So we get this to run. Okay, so as long as it's compiling, I'm going to consider it working. We can write some tests for things later. So if we're lucky here, and we are, we can just do that and it just fits. I'm often surprised how many times I can just do that and it works in terms of just getting rid of things. Okay, so this IS thing, this info string thing, I'd really much rather just get rid of it. For now, we gotta see like where we have this IS macro, and then wherever it's being used, we just have to declare it locally. So, so anywhere we see IS, we're going to declare it locally. We're going to get rid of this nonsense here. Undef, don't declare macros attached on file read write section. Okay, and I will work on that in a second. Hold on. So we're going to go up to the top for a second. And we're going to add this. And then at the bottom, we're going to undef it, right? So we're going to just take this IS thing, and we're going to undef it here. And we're still going to have some problems because it's not just used in this one function, right? It's used all over the place. But we want to get rid of this nonsense, right? We're going to get rid of that. And then to make absolutely sure we don't put any macros, we're going to put some macros, which is kind of nonsensical. But yeah, we're going to go back up to the top here. We're going to say, you know, define, don't declare macros on file read write section, right? So the idea is that this define is right here, glued up here. And I'm saying don't glue macros up here, but I have one macro to say not to put macros there, which is kind of like a, it's kind of like a, you could say that if this were politics, this would be hypocritical, right? But this one macro is kind of self-documenting code to make sure I don't put any other macros up here, right? So the idea is that this section, usually on sections, right, we glue these kind of macros, undef and define macros at the top and the bottoms of sections, right, like this. However, all the code for file read-write was pasted in here, so we don't want to put any macros here like this. So now we're just going to have this gigantic macro here to just say, hey, don't put any macros attached to the section itself. So then, now we have this IS macro, and that's good. It's also used in here, so that means that we have to, we need to just say, hey, we need to define a macro for this, so IS right here. And then at the bottom, and we could probably get rid of this macro eventually, because we already have the air macro. I had made a mistake somewhere in my code, and it wasn't compiling correctly, so I made this SMF macro, because there were collisions with the air macro, but we can fix that later. But one problem at a time. So define this, and then at the bottom of all this stuff we're going to undef. And you know what'd be fun? It's not like it. I gotta take a quick break. What'd be fun is like for every I did this, it'd be fun to put memes. Since I'm taking up a lot of space with these undefs, it'd be fun to just put memes. Have like a meme section. I'm gonna think about that while I go on break really quick. I gotta take a bathroom break here. Just in time. Okay, let me close this. Okay. So we're just gonna clean up some stuff, and we're not gonna worry too much about. So I was thinking, we could make meme code, and we could make like shortcuts for like, all of these things, and we could just put stuff in here just for the heck of it. Right. So what might be kind of cool is like if you take the video ID, and if you did something like indented, and then we just like I don't know what we could do. We could put it in square brackets, right? Because then we could well, actually, if we want to find a regex, if we want to use a regex to find stuff, it might be easy to like separate by spaces, and then just be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Are they all 11-digit codes? Right? And then, you know, and then we can put like the number checksum still. We can still keep the number checksum over here, but then we just have like we just have these nice little links to like, it's a YouTube video, or maybe it's an Imgur link, and maybe just keep that part out. Like maybe you don't even reference if it's like a YouTube video or an Imgur link. You just have to find that out for yourself, right? And then we just put stuff in there, right? I think that would actually be kind of fun. So I think I'm going to do that in a lot of this code, just because how, you know, why not? So IS is used here, that's good. And, well, it's not that good. I kind of want to get rid of it, but let's just we want to get the code working and just clean it up a little bit. So, wherever we're seeing that IS macro, wherever we see that IS macro, we just want to, so here's IS here. And do we have IS there? Yeah, so there's IS. Are you using it anywhere else, or is it just in those places there? Looks like it might just be in those places. Okay, let's give that another shot. Let's give that a run. And see if we can compile that, or if we've made a mistake anywhere. And looks like, yeah, looks like we fixed that. So now, let's look for the SMF. So I'd like to, right, so we have this thing and we have this thing, and I'd like to normalize that. So let's look for SMF and replace it with air. Right, and then, if this crashes, then it just means that we've made a mistake with declaring and undeclaring our macros, which seem to have been a problem in some of the code we cut and pasted from. That's why we had two different air macros, because of just some problems. And now that we have that, cancel, we can get rid of SMF, right? So you can get rid of SMF. And we can also start to make like a checksum, right? So we've gotten rid of SMF, and now we can just go down to the bottom of touch file, and we can get rid of SMF here. And now I'm just curious, if I take this YouTube URL and I try to search for it, am I going to find the actual video, or what am I going to find? So I don't know. I mean, okay, so I can find it. Now, I want to know, so my next question is, like, all of these 11 digits. YouTube seems to have a unique 11-digit code for each video. Are YouTube codes guaranteed to always be 11 characters? At least until 5.0 exponent plus 19. So 5.0 e to the 19th. I don't know if that's how that's pronounced, but right, so 19. Move the decimal over by 19 places, right? And that seems like a pretty big number. The max combination 11 characters seems like a large number, but it probably won't be enough in a few years since the number of uploaded videos grows exponentially. So do not count on that if you are creating not one of those year websites. They'll probably stick to 11 characters for a long time. Each character has 64 possible values. Okay. So... 64 to the power of 11. Uh-huh. Okay. So, it's going to be one of those things where people say you can't guarantee it, but it's probably never going to change. It's kind of like, it's kind of like iHard code. When I do, like, GLSL code, or when I do OpenGL code, like, all hardcode things is ints, and, like, you know, instead of using windows.h, I'll just hardcode things as void pointers or whatnot. Because I'm like, yeah, they want you to use all these fancy type dusts, but these type dusts aren't really going to change any, like in a theoretically pure sense, then you wouldn't want to have this guarantee of 11 characters, but in a pragmatic sense, you can have a guarantee of 11 characters, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to just take this question here. I'm going to make sure that I can just take it without the 11 characters thing for a second. I'm just going to put that in my notes. 11 characters. And then I'm going to take the whole thing, put it in a comment in my notes. So YouTube video length. Okay. And now that I have that, I think Imgur has a similar thing. So let's go to Imgur for a second. And let's pick something not political. This looks good. Oh, this is a gallery. So... oh wait, it's not a gallery, it's just one thing. Whatever. But if you take this thing here, like copy it, and then we kind of search for it on Google. I'm going to put this in another monitor. I don't know what I'm going to find if I Google for this. But, will it get something on Imgur, right? It actually gets Cypress. So interestingly, when I search for it on Imgur, it gets me this. So I think what would be fun is we just like so what if we took Let me just throw things into here like this, right? So this is still like Imgur stuff. Now if we do Imgur, is it smart enough to find what I'm looking for? Doesn't look like it is. It's because I found that by looking at like imgur.gallery, right? Now if we do imgur.com / this thing, what do I get? I should probably not do that. I might get something not safe for work. So I'm going to move this up here for a second because I don't know what's going to happen. But it doesn't look like that's actually working because it's a gallery. So now if I do something like try to take something that I have, so if I try to take a direct link on Imgur, well, a direct link on Imgur, so also let's think about self-promotion. Like, what if we direct link to something like that, we can't really promote ourselves because it just goes to the it goes to the image, but it doesn't show like whose profile it is. So if I take what are there URLs that I can use? So now if we did like a gallery thing, right? If we did galleries like this. Oh wait. So this is imgur.com / this, right? So the Imgur link. Now if we take an Imgur link like this and we try to search for that, what happens? No deal. So it looks to me like Google kind of like optimize. Google probably has something where if you use their 11-digit codes, then actually, so DuckDuckGo actually, when I search this code, DuckDuckGo actually finds my thing here, but Google. So I wonder if that's an anti-competitive practice for a second. So Google, though, if I type this in here, do I actually get? No, I don't really get any. I don't get anything. I get some interesting things, but not what I was looking for. What about images? So I don't even get the image. But on what about Yahoo? Let's search for on Yahoo. www.yahoo.com. And if I search on Yahoo. And let's move this up here. We don't know what we're going to get. Interesting. So if I search on Yahoo, I also get the Imgur thing, right? And www.ask. How about ask.com or whatever the hell it is? Okay, if I search on Ask, do I get it? I just get a whole bunch of ads. Like, holy crap, like, seriously? So Ask is complete crap. It's just like, oh, we can't find anything. We're just gonna just put random. Okay, but the thing is that what else? What about Bing? Microsoft, also known for anti-competitive practices. Does Bing work on this? Yes, the only thing that does not find search results is Google. Like, Google does not find this. Interesting. Okay. So that's interesting. So what I'm thinking is, you know, we put like little links for Imgur pages, imgur.com/this, youtube.com. Now, I don't think we can go directly to YouTube and type in a video ID like that, though. YouTube, I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, that's not going to work. You have to actually put the video ID in. But yeah, it might be kind of fun to just kind of put in, like, little video codes, and you kind of have to figure out what it's to, right? So we could put Imgur, and, we could put Imgur and some other things in there, and we could just kind of, like, keep on doing that, right? So, this macro max len, we're going to change it to mml, macro max len. I'm going to change this. So wherever I see this, I'm going to change this to mml. Just so that we can normalize some of the code. Alright, so that way I can go to this thing called MML really quick down here, and we can make some more meme code. So I am kind of interested in this. I think that's what we'll do right now. Since I'm kind of tired, let's just find some random memes and embed it into Imgur, right? And now the thing is how could we benefit ourselves from this? How could we do some type of SEO optimization? Now, I don't think that Google will ever give us GitHub results, right? So if I type something like PHEXDUM, right, and that's the code base I've been working on, I don't think I'm actually going to get. Oh, I'm going to get Twitch results. Yeah, so I'm going to get some Twitch results, sure, and some YouTube results, because I put those there. But I'm not going to get my code base, right? If we do AAC 2020, probably a different thing, because we kind of we've been working on this for a while. Advanced Accelerators Concepts Workshop. Interesting. Interesting. So we may have some problems because of this other acronym. Yeah, so I'm on like on the third page, which is basically pointless. But okay, but we actually can find it on GitHub. We have to go really far back, right? We gotta go there. Now, the other thing is, well, what if we do something like, if we go into lib, and we try to look at we try to figure out one of these other things. How about like P5D1OGL, right? Let's try to like Google search for some of our stuff and see P5D1OGL. And we're really not going to find anything that's nested any deeper than that. That kind of makes sense. We're not going to index. No one's going to go in here any deeper. Now, on the front page, though, like, can some of this stuff end up here, right? So, if we try to, like, look at, do we have any, like, interesting type names in here that might be showing up in a Google search, right? So, if we do, like, tilqua or tilexp, right? So, if we look at this, what if we do like tilexp, right? Okay, what if we do So the question is, like, I was watching a Thunderfoot video talking about the spread of an idea has nothing to do with whether or not the idea is good or not. It just has to do with, well, how well is it spread, right? So if you want ideas to spread, you might have something that you think is a good idea, but you might also want to figure out how to make it spread, right? Because those are actually two different things, right? So now if we put comments in the code here like this, it goes from our code base out, but it doesn't converge into the code base. We want to like it'd be nice to like cast a net. And you know, how could we do that? Well, we could create like a blog, and we could start to document, like create a master index of like all the variable names or something. I could do that. Should probably look at some SEO stuff. SEO for a code base. How to make your website source code optimized. How to make people find my code base using search engine, right? So how do we make people find our code base using a search engine? I don't know. Also, I think I want some type of a blog or something, right? Now, also what I like here is that if we keep things like this, Imgur, and that like this is plausible deniability. I like that. So, right, so this is Imgur URL, this is a YouTube URL, but we have a little bit of plausible deniability in terms of when we put this URL in, what do we get, right? Which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, right? Okay, so let's kind of fix up some of this stuff. So let's just change the comment style here a bit so that we can, so that we don't have to reformat the text. We can just, right, change the comment style, right? And yeah, we're just gonna keep on cleaning stuff up like this, right? So dir sus directory substring. And want to save on Got a little commentary to say, hey, we're making this directory. Now, can't really indent that much because then I would like to indent everything nicely if we can. Right, so everything lines up here, and then we could make everything line up here like this. Right, so the error message is kind of obtuse, or the message is a little bit obtuse, but at least we can see it where it's being used. And yeah, sure, why not? Okay, let's kind of keep on going through this and just cleaning some stuff up, and let's, for commentary that's almost short enough, we'll just change the comment style a bit. Now, what I'm concerned about is I don't see anything in here. Was that intentional? Like, isolating this code right here, I can't really tell. Creation of directory requires at least one character before the last slash. I have a little example, so right, so does that mean do nothing? Because it seems like it's kind of what it seems like, but I don't understand, so you could also seal off things like this. It's kind of nice. Right, anything I can do to imply, anything that I can do to imply this border on the right, I'm going to do. This is halt. Anything that says halt should be an error message, and we do have an error message in here, so if we see halt, we can just do this, ERR 2021 0203 to make the message a little bit more unique. So you have dex last slash, which is causing this to go overboard. So what we're going to do is we're going to, we can keep this commentary here again. And then for the dex, we don't really save much there if we do that. let's just do something like that. And then wherever we see this dex last slash, we're just going to do dex last. Right? Except for, you know, we're explaining what it means. And I know I already used this variable yesterday. Or something else. Or maybe not. Thought I did. Let's just make a note of what that means. It's kind of like, so I don't really think that... So... Right, so I don't think this should mean something specific. Like, in a certain code it does, but... I don't think that it's... I don't think that it is a variable that is... It's too terse to mean something specific as far as I'm concerned, because it's dex and last. So, if we ask what it means, let's just make sure that we know that it can mean something else, right? So, at vid IID, let's put this in our notes like this, 1, 2, 3, and the time is 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 10 seconds. Yeah. And then dex last, right? If we type something like this, we'll correct it. And then over here, if we do dex last correctly, we'll just surround it and say, hey, good job. Good job, we'll put a little box there to confirm that you did that correct. Index last. Index last. Last index. If we type any of this, we're going to get the correction. If we do last dex, though, last dex, maybe we made a mistake there. Last dex. Right, so if we type something like that, we just want to say, hey, did you mean this other thing, right? Because this is backwards, right? So I don't know. But let's compile this, make sure it still runs, and we're gonna get out of here once we have cleaned up all of this stupid formatting from cutting and pasting code, right? So we just want things to look nice. And what is it? Control? There we go. So let's keep on compiling here. I mean, keep on refactoring here because that worked. And we're going to just undocumented backslashes. Why did I say undocumented backslashes? Number of backslashes. Number of backslashes is not... Oh, we don't mean undocumented backslashes. We mean... So we're going to just tag it with our name so that we can find kanji coder in the source code sometimes, and just make the error message USB kanji coder USB 2021. Right, so the message just means unsupported backslashes year 2021, right? And we want the message to be somewhat unique, so we just have to make sure the message is unique for the whole year, and as long as we can make it unique for the whole year, we'll be okay. USB is a pretty terse error message, but we also put kanji coder on here, so we're kind of hoping that this error message will be unique amongst the whole code base for the whole year. And as long as we can get past that, we'll be in the clear because it's good for the whole year, right? Because as long as we keep on tagging messages with the year that the error message was made, right, then we can keep on doing that. So we're gonna keep on keeping on. So here, what's with this else? Let's at least align that. And expected dead code line, that's fine. I use that quite a lot. But, if we have room to make the error message, then we're just going to do that. EDCL is expected dead code line. That's fine. This is number of slashes, but they are backslashes, right? So let's make a note here. Alright, so we can... That is true. Like, these constraints make it easier to implement the code if I just don't allow certain things. Constraints. We can still keep the commentary though down there. We can still keep the commentary, but yeah, right now we're just kind of cleaning things up. And yeah, NOS is for number of slashes here, and NOD is for number of dots, right? Now, it's a very terse variable, so it could mean something different in different pieces of code, but that's what it means specifically in this code. And we also have it here as well, except we should say slashes. So we're just going to keep on going through all this, and anywhere we see code that is going off the rails here. So this halt needs to be error. Too long is kind of a generic error, so let's say kanji coder, what's too long? Too long, can't fit nil. So we'll say too long, can't fit, null, terminator, right? And then let's change this to TLCFNT. TLCFNT. Alright, so it's just a little code. 2021. Too long, can't fit, null, terminator. And then we can clean this up and just say, yeah, that's a great error and all. But let's actually glue this onto here like this, I think. I don't know if that's the best way to do it. I don't know what the indentation should be for this. No, actually, I changed my mind on that. Okay. Yes, this one is for the null terminator, right? Okay. Let's make sure everything still runs, so let's kind of like run our little, oh god, ./PHEXDUM.sh. Just make sure that we still compile, that we haven't done anything stupid with our defines. And it looks good. So it looks like, to me, that we fixed everything, right? So if we scroll out here, and we just look at the call limits, oh, there's something offensive. So where are we? We're in save file PNG. Yeah, so let's start whittling away at this. So unsigned care, pixwid, whatever the heck. This is from refactoring something. It looks like it was long deleted long ago. So we're just going to get rid of that. And we're just going to get rid of some of this. And we're not going to make a note of today we changed this, even though when we go back to the video archives, right, and when we look at this code, right, and when we see it in the video archives, it's going to look slightly different, but it's going to have the same timestamp and whatnot. But none of the actual code has changed, it's just a formatting thing. Also, this exists in a different piece of code, right? So that might be important. Out of bound from base folder. So this looks like pretty heavy algorithm stuff here. The error kind of looks like it's important. Base. What is base? The length of base. What is base, though? Base is the name of the base. So this is the base folder. So I'm pretty sure that's just a check to make sure I'm parsing everything correctly. Is base folder a variable? Pretty sure this is the base folder. So as we're writing this algorithm, I think that we're trying to make like a scan through 2 strings at once or something like that, or build the folder name or something like that. I don't exactly remember what we were doing. I feel like these error messages are helpful though, so I'm slightly out of my column limit, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess what we could do, since we're so close, is we could just, we just use E for error in here. And then undef it here. Right? And if we do something like that, then we can kind of, and this is slightly different than how we usually do things, so we might want to bring attention to it by using, I don't know. But yeah, we could use E for air, and then over here where we see E for air, we could just go air, E for air, right? If we do that, everything fits, and then we just have to change the commentary here, right? So we can change the commentary a bit to be like, right, so we can get rid of this stuff here, and we can and this is kind of like, yeah, there we go. And make sure that still compiles. So, but yeah, we're just gonna take some time to clean some stuff up because I don't really feel like working today. So we're just gonna clean some stuff up. So right here, same thing. I don't know what this comment was for, but right now, just clean some stuff up, right? So take all this nonsense here. We could keep this glued over here, I don't know. But the idea is that this commentary actually applies to this one line down here, so we could do this to make that association a little bit more obvious. So we're at 131. 18. Clean up. So we're just cleaning this up, but I do want to describe what's going on here again, since we're here. So let's describe this again. Let's change the timestamp to 32. So let's describe what's going on here. I've just cleaned up the comment a little bit. Once again, this code right here is just making absolutely sure that there's a null terminator here. So it looks like there's a +1 and a -1 here. And I think that's just my way of saying len all does not have any type of offset on it. But the reason len all doesn't have an offset on it is because there's some type of off by 1 calculation that goes forward and off by 1 calculation that goes backwards, right? So the idea here is that there is some type of calculation that adds a 1 and another calculation that subtracts a 1. And so by coincidence, it's length all, but it's not really length all, it's length all +1, length all -1, right? Which you might say, well, it's the same number. But we don't want to have something where, have you ever heard that saying, oh, they're either really stupid or they're really smart, right? So if we're really stupid, we're going to put length all. And if we're really smart, we're also going to put length all. So if we're really stupid and forget about off by 1 errors, then we're going to put length all. Now if we're really smart, and remember there's 2 off by 1 errors that cancel out, we'll put this. We'll also put this, right? And if we're being idiots, we'll do length all +1, or if we're being idiots in the other direction, we'll do length all with just a -1, right? So the idea is that the code, we want to keep that idea of mentioning what you did, mentioning what you didn't do, right? So this code kind of documents what was not done, right? With having this thing cancel out here, if that makes sense. So I don't remember what exactly what exactly those plus ones and minus ones are. Maybe I could check the video documentation if I really cared. But a lot of times it's like you just want to write the code and never look at it again. And that's kind of going to be one of these cases here. But we can check in the video archives if you ever want to be like, hey, what the heck was that? Or we could painstakingly try to read the code again and figure out all the convoluted logic that was going on to figure that out. But I think it might be easier to just go back to the video commentary and check that out. So actually, I think that'd be a good time to, we're kind of just, so this is file PNG. I don't really need to know that, file PNG, but we should probably have, like, if we do file PNG like this, do we get, so we have a thing that says don't do that. So what about PNG file binary format as it appears on hard disk? Okay, so the question is this file PNG how it appears on the hard disk? And I'm going to say it's probably not. I think this is actually the file name of the PNG. Right, because this is text pointer. Yeah, this is a text pointer, file PNG. I'm going to use file PNG is... So... instead of file PNG, we're going to use FIP PNG, right? So, FIP PNG for file path PNG, right? So FIP PNG, right? And if we type something like this, we'll correct ourselves and say, hey, FIP PNG. Okay, if we type it the exact correct way, right? So if we do FIP okay, and if we do something like PNG fill, like that, well, that's the other thing. So PNG FIP, PNG FIP, PNG FIP. Now, for the other thing, where we actually do file PNG, we're going to correct that. So hold on. So first of all, we're going to go FIP PNG means, FIP PNG means, FIP PNG means, and FIP PNG means, right? So we do this FIP PNG. So this is file path of PNG. Right, so it's a file path of /2 PNG, right? Now, if we do fill PNG, which we decided is wrong, we do want to use so it's backwards. Pick one binary data is PNG file path So binary data variable is PNG file, whereas the file path variable is FIP-PNG, right? So that's where we do fill PNG like this. So anywhere we see fill PNG. Now if we do PNG fill, we want the same kind of thing going on here. So if we find so now this was originally an autocorrect kind of thing, but now it's kind of like pick your var binary is PNG file. Yeah, PNG file. I don't know if that's going to... Right, but we have two choices here, right? We have this thing or this thing, right? But we just want to make a note of that so that when we're looking at the code, we can say, hey, this is file PNG, but really what we want is do we want file PNG, or is this a path to PNG file, or is this a actual PNG file data, right? And it looks like to me that this is actually PNG file data, right? Because we have a calloc, unless this is a file name. This might be just a callocking a file name. Create relative file path, right? This says create relative file path, so this file path here is probably text. So it's not, yeah, it's char. So we're creating a string. So anywhere in here where we have create relative file path, so it's going to be called FIP-PNG now, right? So anywhere we see file PNG here, it's going to be called FIP-PNG now. Right? So that the thing that says file PNG, well, it's actually file path PNG, right? File path PNG. Hence that we have a touch file there, right? So that makes sense. So we're kind of normalizing our variables a little bit more. And that's all right. So in code file, once again, it's file path PNG, right? So file path of PNG, right? It's a file path of PNG. Pixel array U8 so this is a U8 or pixel array here, width in pixels, right? And this over here is the height in pixels, right? Height, or height in pixels. And since we're running out of room here, we're going to have to... Here, let's just do this. Right. So now we have some explanations. File path of PNG, right? So a variable explanation of what all this stuff is. Let's tighten that up a bit. And then this thing, fill PNG, is now FIP PNG, right? It's the file path It's the file path of the PNG. Right, so we can clean that up a bit. Now the reason I put it in here is that if we cut and paste the code, we have to take the comment with it. That's kind of why I do it like that sometimes. Okay, so before we clean this up, let's make sure that we can still compile, right? Let's make sure that that everywhere that we changed fit PNG, we did it correctly, right? So it looks like we did that correctly. And so right here, the easiest way to do this would actually be, I think, if I know how to do a printf properly and how strings work, I think we could, if we wanted to, just do this. Surprise, surprise. Right? So we could do this. I think that would be valid. A little bit weird from the way I do my code, but I believe that is still a valid way to do, yeah, a big string, right? Now, people don't really do it that way. So I think that even though that is a valid way to do this, I think even though this is valid, I think it might just make more sense to define P as printf to shorten it, and then just use P here and just wrap everything, rather than do it in one big thing like that. Just because it's something where you look at it and you might be like, I don't know what the heck that does, because it's not something that's used very often, or at least not in some contexts. I do use that, but I don't use that kind of thing very often. So define P for printf, right? And then down here, we can just, you know, flush, and then undef P for printf, right? And then we could just say, I don't know what to do here. We're getting a little bit too decoraty, but I don't care. I don't like that style. Doesn't look nice visually. Okay. So, okay, we cleaned that up. And now this thing, no op load PNG. Now, does this have to be here? Oh, yeah, because if load PNG doesn't exist, then we have this kind of like, this thing here. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to have to make sure that this is defined. Copy. So in the C file that we're using to build with, we want to make sure that that is actually supported, right? So I don't know if we did it, but we're going to have to do it. So, like, load PNG somewhere here. Right, we want to just include AAC 2020 include load PNG. So this C file is not going to exist when we cut and paste into our main project, and our main project does have this defined. So I'm just going to throw that in there so that this code, when we use it, is actually going to function properly. Because it's compiling, but it sure is not going to function properly unless we have that, right? And then, oh boy, we did that, and now we got a whole bunch of mistakes. So let's go try to figure out what those are. Let's clear for a second and see what that is. So, operation has no left operand, and it's on 527. So let's move this over here for a second. and look at 527. So we were doing a whole bunch of refactoring, we didn't even realize that, really, 527. Operation greater than or equal to has no left operand. Well, it sure looks like there's an operand there. It sure looks like an operand to me. Unless I is just not a variable anymore. So maybe I think we were refactoring some things and we didn't realize that the code wasn't even compiling in the first place. So that sucks. So the question is, what do you mean no left-hand operand? Oh. This thing. Got it. I see what I did. Hold on. So we're going to close this. I know exactly what I did. It is in the C11 file. In the C11 file where we're including stuff, and we include load PNG, it either has to be a 1 or a 0. It cannot, it's going to break, some of our expressions are going to break unless we give it a 1. That's what I did wrong there. Okay, so let's, I see. Okay, so now, compiling. Okay, cool. So now we can continue on our journey of cleaning up this code a bit. So, here's some stuff. Let's not worry about exactly where the code is. Let's just keep on cleaning stuff up. So this looks old. So I can't tell when I made this comment. It may be, like, we have the same kind of old timestamp, so I'm guessing this is also video 65. I'm guessing, right? Because look at the timestamp, how it's very close in time. But yeah, I sometimes make mistakes where I don't include the correct video timestamp. Like, I forget the, so, we don't actually know what video this is. We know the timestamp, but we don't know what video it is. The time here is... So we're going to keep the old timestamp method. The old timestamp we're going to keep just because that kind of lets me know, hey, this is an older video, right? So the reason I'm using timestamps like this is because it says time here, so we should be smart enough to imply that this is hours, minutes, and seconds. And because S looks too much like a 5, right? Like, this is harder to read, so... But yeah, so I don't know what this comment was originally for. Let's just read it and see if we can understand it. When load PNG is not included, we just want to pretend it returns success so that we do not crash the program. Okay, I get it. So with that, we can just kind of... We can put this here. Alright, so we're just gonna clean this up. That is sensible. That's sensible. I understand why I'm doing it that way. Because we just want to... sometimes we want to take out load PNG, see, hey, is load PNG causing us problems? Or, right now, load PNG does some implicit typecasting things that are causing problems. Now, I have no clue why. Was this in the comments, or did I move this out? Because I see this says result equals 0, and then there's this comment here. There is no, what do you call it? There's no semicolon at the end of this. So I think this is part of the comment. I need to pay more attention. But I see result equals 0, so either way it wouldn't change what's going on. I think what that was for is so that I can see this. I can see that this comment applies to this piece of whatever, right? So sometimes I get paranoid where I'm like, I don't understand what the comment applies to, right? So we see a big block comment, and it's like, what's the jurisdiction of our comments? Like, I'm very obsessed over the jurisdiction of comments, and so this comment's jurisdiction is probably this thing here. So with that, let's kind of... Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. So let's kind of clean that up. That looks nice. Or I don't know if that does look nice. I feel like maybe it should be a little bit centered. Not going to worry about it. Load PNG, not included. This is where load PNG isn't included. This is what we're doing. That's fine. Okay. So now we have some stuff we can clean up here. No op, no load PNG, right? So the reason why these are no ops is because we're not including load PNG, so we just have to make sure that it still compiles. We're not including load PNG, and we're not including load PNG. We don't actually use these variables. That's what this is for. I understand that. This comment about no load PNG is this comment is pretty nice, right? So it actually makes sense, but we need to make it a little bit terse, so no op, no. So we're just going to shorten this and say no op, no load PNG, and that's going to be this. And then we can just use this. We can use this shorthanded. We can use this shorthanded comment, right? No op, no load PNG, right? Actually, we could just keep it like that. So no op, no load PNG, right? And then in our documentation, let's go into our actual code base for a second, because we're going to need it in the main code base eventually. Not in the lib, but in our documentation, in our big hashtag file. We're just going to make a note of what that is. And just say, it means no op because no load PNG library, right? So that's all that means. And we can make a note of when we added this in the commentary section. So this is for at vid IID 0123, and the time is 1:57:06. Okay. So now we can close that. Do you want to reload it? Sure, yes, reload that. Okay. Okay, so yeah. So we just want to make sure that, yeah, we understand why this is what it is, right? So, I understand what this is for. I assume that this comment here at this time already describes that, so I'm not going to go back and describe it again, because I get what it does. No big deal. Okay, so... Oh, so this do not put slash before base folder. That's a pretty informative error message. And I kind of like it, but it's just one character too long. We're just gonna talk slang to make that shorter. Do not put slash p4 base folder. Right, so we can keep it like that, so we can keep the original commentary, right, so it all matches, except we just got rid of the before, right, so that we can just fit it in there without exceeding the column limit. So, yes, that message is a little bit more kind of unprofessional, but at least it will fit within our column limit. So, anything else? So now we got all this junk. So nil, pix array, nil array, whatever the heck. So what we could do, we just get rid of kanji coder. We could just say, what if we change it to AAC 2020 says? Huh? There we go, yeah, AAC 2020 says. There you go, just sit. If we change that, there we go, that's good. But yeah, we're just gonna clean up these things. Okay. So the code we're in is cut-paste code of cut-paste code. So isn't that scary? Well, it's not that scary. Vid IID. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So yeah, the time is 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. This code is now officially cut-paste code of cut-paste code. Very meta. So, you know, maybe that's not a good thing. But I just want to note that yeah, because this is, so that's saying that this was cut and pasted from this file, and it was refactored to be more general. But the code we're in right now in PHEXDUM is actually code that was stolen from fragbed, I believe. So we took fragbed save code, or actually, no, this is fileboy save code, I believe. But anyways, yeah, this is fileboy save code because it's file access. Well, some of the file access code was taken from fragbed, and then some of the file access code was taken from fileboy. So I think that really everything should be in fileboy if it's file access, but that's the way it is. So, so we just want to make a note of that. Say, now we have cut-paste code of cut-paste code, but it's good to say, hey, instead of rewriting a whole bunch of crazy stuff, we've just refactored a little bit, right? Especially when we're being very verbose with what we're writing. But we could say maybe we shouldn't be too verbose, but we're too verbose. That's how we roll. So maybe we should just get used to it. So, okay. What else do we have here? Do we have anything else that needs cleaning up? Let's just kind of scroll out here again and just take a quick glance, a quick like high-level overview kind of glance of this, and see if anything kind of sticks out. And we do have one little block of code kind of sticking out there. So let's get them. Right there, let's get that. And pretty sure this is nonsense left over from the code we cut-pasted and refactored. So the idea here was, I'm not sure if this makes sense, because if the file exists, if file exists is greater than or equal to 1, right, but the file doesn't exist, because it says assert null terminator, right? And if file exists, well, this is a log. This is not an error. So the file does not exist. We're not crashing. We're not crashing. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this back. So I wasn't sure. So this is if the file doesn't exist, right? So if file does not exist, we do this stuff. I don't know why. I don't even know if it is needed. Maybe it is left over vestigial code from cutting plus pasting plus refactoring. But not confident enough to delete it. Right? So I don't know if this needs to be deleted or not. I'm looking at it and I'm like, right? That's why I had that big block comment, because I block commented it out. But now that I look at it, I'm like, you know what? Maybe there was a reason for this. And so we're going to put that back. And not on disk. Let's say number of chars, right? So I shorten that. And then dereference by refboy, whatever the heck. Like, I don't even know what this is about. Oh, no, that's a... It's the file memory. Yes, I don't know what's up here, but, done fucked up. Okay. Let's just change this to messed up with a capital F. Sure, why not? So let's make sure this still compiles, because maybe... that's why we commented out, right? strlen differ in signness. Pointer sign. Int. Okay, so... it's file memory. Okay. So this was... So... here. Good. So I don't know if this is necessary, but if we get this code, if we get this error, then we'll address what's going on here. But right now, we just want to get it compiling, get it working. We'll worry about that later. And let's make a note here. So let's make a note of the timestamp here and say @vid iid, and it's 0123, and the time is 2 hours 7 minutes 42 seconds. Alright, so when we're looking at this code right here, I don't know if this code is necessary here. So we're not gonna remove it just yet, because I don't know. So, you know, really, I guess maybe we should have a little question mark there, right? Like, because I don't know, / question mark. Because I don't really know what this code is doing by looking at it. Like, we're taking the length of a string, but it looks like this code was refactored to work with, like, binary files, I believe. And that's why load file if exists. Yeah, so this stuff here, I don't know. I think it's not working because this is for text processing, and now we're doing it if it's a binary file or if it's a text file where you're doing both. I don't know. I think something like that is going on. I don't know what's going on, but it was working fine when we weren't using it. So right now we're going to just put an error here to see if this code path gets executed, or if it gets executed, we'll give it some attention. We'll get more attention if that code path actually gets executed. So let's actually try to run the hex dumper, right? So .exe and then logo .png to naked array, and then logo.png, right? So if we do that, we still get our hex dump, and if we look at this, we should have a hex dump in here now, yeah? We do? Okay, and that's fine. So I don't know what that code needs to do. It was cut and pasted from somewhere else, so maybe it is fine, as is. And it looks to me like everything is nicely aligned here. And so we just cleaned some stuff up, right? So all we did today was just clean some stuff up because we didn't feel like we're coding. So when we don't feel like coding, we can just do kind of busy work and just clean up the formatting of some things. So that's what we did, and I think that's fine. I think that's fine to... I guess we did get past the 10-minute rule, though. I thought that I was just going to be like, work for 10 minutes and show you how BS it is, but there are actually times when I've actually tried to just code for 10 minutes and absolutely not felt like it. But this is a little bit better. So yeah, I'm done for now. Until I actually feel like writing some more algorithms, I'm going to stop. Right, so this is just me putzing around, trying to log a little bit of hours coding. So I'm out of here, and this was just, yeah, this is just, this is part 55. This is part 55, yeah. So I'll be around, and I'll see you later. It is now actually Wednesday, but the video ID is still 123. Okay, later.